And we're live.
Okay. So here we are again. As promised, we are playing Hardwood Hearts this morning. Yeah. Okay, it's apparently morning now. Don't really know what to say beyond it's Hearts.
We're
If
gonna
you've
play Hearts.
if you've never played Hearts before, you must not have ever been using Windows 98, basically, is what I can say. Because Microsoft Hearts was basically all you had to do for a lot of times
And
when you were playing.
solitaire.
Yeah, this is before the internet was really a thing for a lot of people. So, Hearts is a classic, and I expect we're going to have some fun doing that. I was reading up a little bit about this because I've not played this before, obviously, but it has multiplayer where you can do team-based, and just by starting the game, look at that,
You
I
unlocked a
unlocked a gamer
picture.
picture. This is old school arcade stuff. Hi, White
Why
Pod,
pause
welcome.
sent you a heart?
He gives us the hearts. That's right. That's what we're playing. Hearts, because you don't play with people's hearts. That's not kind. That's not nice. You love people. You don't play with them. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. I don't know.
I don't know. In that case, wouldn't you hate the player
Yeah, no, you definitely need to hate
if
the
they're
player.
playing with people's hearts?
The music seems an
Shitty?
odd choice.
Oh.
We could go there.
Well, we also are playing it on a pirate ship.
Yeah, that's odd. Screen. I will just note this: the splash screen as the game was loading, it says Hardwood Hearts, and there's a bunch of diamonds and a bunch of spades. In fact, there were so many spades that I was actually a little bit concerned that I'd loaded the wrong game, and that it was actually the Hardwood Spades game. Because
That's right, because we weren't supposed to play spades this week.
we're supposed to play spades in like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
There are 3 games in the Hardwood series. There's Hardwood Hearts, Hardwood Spades, and Hardwood Backgammon. And I have already beaten all of Hardwood Backgammon. I don't even know if that was backwards compatible. But Hearts and Spades I hadn't gotten because they were not part of the bundle that I purchased Hardwood Backgammon as. Expensive. They were $10 games. I think that's right. So I didn't want to buy them. But when they went on sale in the backward compatibility sale, they went really cheap, and now they're worth buying because it's really not that expensive. But they're probably back up to a price that I wouldn't want to pay anymore. Single-player games, partnership, or multiplayer
Well, and
games
now
with a lot
that
of options.
we don't have card games for free in Windows 10 anymore, right? Don't we
No,
have to pay for them, or they have ads or something?
They have ads, right? You can still play Solitaire for free, but if you're online, it tries to show you ads. But they give you a lot of new features to try and make up for that, like daily challenges or star challenges. Those are pretty cool, but they're definitely trying to monetize things that were always free. And did we mention this last week? But they're going to stop support for Microsoft Paint. It's not going away, but they're not going to make any new improvements to it. Not like, well, when's the last time they actually made an improvement to Microsoft Paint? It's been
I was
a
gonna
while.
say Microsoft Paint is still on version 1, as far as I can tell.
So you can even turn sun and moon shots off. I can't imagine why you'd want to do this. A moonshot is when you collect all of the point cards in a round. Hearts is played golf score. You're trying to get the lowest score you can, and if you go and shoot the moon, you collect all of the points, which is a really bad play most of the time. But if you actually get all of the points, then everyone loses all those points, and you get 0. So it's risky, but if you can pull it off, it is devastating. And a sunshot is doing that, plus you take every single trick along the way. So that's interesting. I'm gonna leave those on. Always.
The first time I play Hearts against a new AI, I always trade all the and then go for all the points. And you can usually pull it off a couple times before the AI is like, no, I'm onto you. And they start trading you low cards.
You try and trade them.
You give them low cards because people automatically kind of try and get rid of some of the higher cards. The AI will before it's learned.
Alright, I'm not sure I followed that.
Okay. So in the moonshot...
Oh, if you're going for a moonshot.
You basically... Yeah. The first time I play against a new AI, I usually do go for that because you can trick it into giving you all the cards that you need a couple times.
So one of the things
and
you
then
want
it'll
to do,
figure you out.
especially if you have never played hearts before, you want to make sure that you are keeping a bunch of spades as well, because each heart is worth 1 point, but the queen of spades is worth a ton of points. She's 13 points, I think. And so you really, really don't want to get the queen of spades if you're just playing normally and not trying to shoot the moon. So avoiding her is more important than avoiding any number of hearts. And it's easier to avoid her if you have a bunch of spades you can play. You have to play on suit unless you have nothing in the suit, and then you can play hearts to make up for it. I only kept 1 heart, so I'm not going to be getting very many points here. But because it's early on and they can't play hearts, then playing the high card like that ace of clubs is not so bad. Now my jack of clubs would also win, and there are enough clubs that one may end up costing me, so I'm just going ahead and get that one out of there now too. Hopefully they'll have clubs and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Cool. So now I can start worrying about playing low stuff and avoiding any more tricks. So Ypod said that something is still his go-to for cropping screenshots because it launches so much faster than PS. I'm assuming PS is PlayStation?
No, PlayStation is Photoshop. PS is Photoshop.
Oh, Paint is better for cropping. Oh, okay. Now
yes.
I gotcha. I was like, where's this going? I don't understand it. I'm thinking too hard about my hearts. No, Paint is good for cropping, and I do a lot of my photo editing for my blogging in Paint just because it's always there. Wow, that really hurt for that computer. Oh, and they have those little emotion thingies for coming back. It's just like Catan. The software that I use for taking cropped screenshots these days now is the snipping tool that's been built into Windows since Windows 7 at least. That's a pretty
really
strong
like
program. Why are the hearts beating? I don't want the hearts beating. So I got 0 points that hand, which is great. This time I have no spades. That's not great. But I have a ton of clubs. So shooting the moon might actually be a possibility here, except I don't have nearly enough high cards. So when you're playing partners, both shooting the moon and shooting the sun is a lot easier because you still only have 4 players and you're working together. So if any of the points end up on your team, you still shoot the moon. It's pretty crazy. I think I need to get rid of high stuff and still go for a low hand. We're going to get rid of these 3.
So I just got your email that
Which one?
said okie dokie.
Oh.
Yeah, just now. 22 minutes later.
Yeah, you were a little late there. Now, since I don't have any spades, I can play anything I want. I could break hearts here, but because I'm stuck with this ace and I'm trying not to take tricks, then it's probably better to play the ace. Play with the hearts later on. But now I have to play a diamond. Risky. Oh!
No!
I knew it was risky, but I had to. That hurt. Alright, so I'm kind of screwed then.
Yeah. It's all over for you, man. I sent you a picture of your newest fan.
Is it actually like a rotating, oscillating fan?
No, it's a tiny cat.
Oh, the cat's watching.
She's perched on the soundbar, riveted to the motion of the cards. I'm not digging the heartbeat.
I'm trying to figure out what it's even trying to represent.
Yeah, because I have headphones on. Well, so do you.
Yep.
It's so much worse.
It's pretty loud. So this is a pretty strong hand for trying to shoot, because I have the queen already. I have a queen and a king of hearts. And I have a queen over here. So if I get rid of... No, I probably want to get rid of both the 9 and the queen. But then I don't have any suits to play for either of those suits. Ugh. All right, let's get rid of that one. Might have been okay, but and in fact, with what I got past, I probably could have pulled it off, but didn't know. Oh, that computer doesn't like me very much.
All right, so we had prepared topics this week.
Because we knew we were going to need them.
Right, because we're playing Hearts. But it's no fun time mahjong.
No, we're definitely gonna be more entertaining than that.
But before we do that, what video games did you play this week?
What videos?
What video games?
Oh, okay, that makes much more sense.
Yeah.
All my standards, plus the one that I've come back to this week was, shoot, forget the name of it. Zombie Driver HD, which is, you know, it's you drive a car around smashing into zombies and shooting them up, and the story mode is way too long. It's 31 missions, and I've played 14, 15, and I'm already tired of the mechanics. And then there's a bunch of other stuff going on. It's a fun enough little game, but I feel really tired of it, even though I bought it to play it and get exactly that. I can't think of anything else I played off the top of my head. I know I played other games, but that's not a fair question to ask someone who's, you know, doing something. What did you play?
What did I play this week? I played... Well, I finished Senua's Sacrifice. Or Hellblade, depending on what you want to call it. And I played Remember Me, which is a PS3 game. So I went back to PS3, and honestly, I haven't dusted off that console.
Spend some time.
I've been doing so much more with the PS4. Yeah, there's a point where it's just like, oh, do I want to go back to these graphics and...
I know the feeling.
You know,
I don't play
else.
nearly as much on my 360 as I did a while ago. And actually, that does remind me. I played an Xbox 360 game, Chaotic, which is an interesting history. It's a game, which is based off of a TV series, which was based off of a card game. And the card game is like, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or maybe like Magic the Gathering. Let's get rid of these 3. And that's a very roundabout way to come to make a video game. And the video game has the characters from the TV series, which are based on the cards from the game. It's an interesting enough TV series, and the game is pretty bad. It's an Activision quickie title, but I got into it because TrueAchievements.com told me it was a card and board game. So I started playing it, and as this, you know, teenage kid running around with a gun, and I'm like, this is a first-person shooter. So I was a little disappointed.
What are you eating, Tiny Cat?
Whatever Tiny Cat wants to.
Well, I don't like it if Tiny Cat is in my technology array eating stuff. Do you want to talk about Leapfrog?
Nah, I could talk about Leapfrog. So the math behind the Leapfrog blog post, or just Leapfrog in general? So, since people can't see this right now, Leapfrog is a contest that's run on TrueAchievements.com, which I partook in, and Wipeout took in, and we both actually croaked out. We both lost on the same day, which was kind of cool. Let's go ahead and try this now. Don't take it. Don't take it. Oh, I'm dead. That sucks.
And the basic mechanic of Leapfrog is...
So every year is slightly different. The first Leapfrog, this is now our third Leapfrog. The first Leapfrog was you earn 1 achievement. On day 2, you earn 2 achievements. On day 3, you earn 3 achievements, etc. So that got to be pretty intense pretty quickly, and it went for 99 days. People are nuts at TrueAchievements.com, where they earned 98 achievements one day, and then came back and earned 99 the next day, and then somebody won. The average game on the Xbox 360 era, the arcade games like this one, this has 12 achievements. And a full retail game might have 50 in the base game, and then maybe another 10 or 15 in DLC. Over my entire career of Xbox playing, I've earned about 7,000 achievements. The winners of this earned 5,000 achievements in a month and a half. So it was ridiculous. And of course, there's ways of making that easier, but it was still an insane number of achievements that they were earning by the end. And it was just absolutely nuts. So for the second one, they're like, this was too hard. The people playing it were talking about all the things they had to go through to pull it off, and how it very negatively impacted. So we don't want that happening. Stop I thought it was a spade. I was yelling at the computer to stop playing spades. So they tried to make it end faster. So one of the things that True Achievements does really well is it tries to track how difficult an achievement is in a certain sense through the ratio. How common is the achievement unlocked? If it's a commonly unlocked achievement, that's... oh, jerks. It can't be that hard. But if almost no one has it, well then it's probably pretty tough. And so it uses a square root calculation to determine how rare an achievement actually is, and then based on that, gives us a number. So in the end, most achievements have a ratio of between 1 and 2. 1 is the absolute lowest. 1 means every single person who has the game has the achievement. And 2 means that very, very few people who have the game have the achievement. So for the second Leapfrog, they went by ratio. On day 1, you had to earn a 1.0 ratio achievement. Day 2, 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, etc. So it increased by 0.2 each day. And that one went for 129 days before they basically just called it and said, that's it, you all win, for everyone who was still in, which was a fair number of people. I think it was 5
yeah, this
at
is
that
taking
point.
too long.
It's taking too long because new games keep coming out, and when a new game comes out, the ratios spike.
High.
Exactly, because it's brand new and no one has it, and a lot of people play the game. So they all went and got the newest game and played it as fast as they could and got the achievements. And it wasn't even new games, it was DLC and title updates for existing games. Smite was the worst because the title update came out every 3 or 4 days for that game. So for this one, they're doing both. You start with a 1.0 ratio achievement, then you go 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, and then on the second week, you have to get 2 achievements. And on the third week, you need to get 3 achievements, and the ratio is still going up along the way. So I think today, you need to get 4 achievements at 5 ratio, so it's pretty intense. And I went out about this time last week. I've been out for about a week now. So I did the first day with 3 achievements, and then I said that was good enough for me. So the interesting thing about this is that each of the Leapfrogs, I've been doing math on the back end to see how likely it is that the contest will end on any given day, because it follows a pretty strong exponential decay process. people play, and then some people are eliminated, and then some more people are eliminated, and then a few more people are eliminated. But each day, fewer and fewer people get eliminated. Because the people who really want to compete, really want to compete. And even though the pressure is increasing in a very dramatic fashion, yeah, I lost pretty badly there. Now we're gonna switch things up. Let's try doing the multiplayer game with partners. Oh, that's multiplayer. Single player with partners. And that's still fine. So now I have a partner across from me, and so now shooting the moon is much more possible, because if my partner has the high cards, we're in great shape. But my partner may not know that we're shooting the moon. I don't know how much table talk there is in these things. I'm playing with computers, so... Let's go ahead and give you guys some low cards.
That wizard came from the moon!
Let's see if we have the jack in there anywhere. So the jack's out there, and we won't get that trick. Because the jack will beat that until the jack comes out.
I mean, the hardest part about all these contests has got to be getting your hands on game inventory. Because if you own it, you've probably already done quite a bit with it.
You'd think. I mean, we were talking a couple weeks ago about buying games and not playing them. I still have a lot of games I've owned that I haven't bought. Sorry, owned that I haven't played. So, yeah, it's definitely plenty of opportunities. Don't. Oh, you jerk. Oh, this is the worst. I'm so hosed now. I had a great hand and I screwed it up. I blame you all for making me talk. I steal my games? No, I paid for them.
Yes, confirmed. Exactly. He owns a lot of games he hasn't paid for.
I paid for them, but I haven't played them.
That's not what you said, though. That's not what you said.
Oh man, I'm not doing anything right. I'm not talking right. I'm not playing the game right. I gave my partner's looking at me like, "You got us 22 points, you jerk." So I have a bunch of points and a bunch of ratio type of games with high ratios that are not that hard in my inventory. Like I have the game Rare Replay that I could play, and because that's got so many achievements, those games necessarily have high ratios because the ratio is based on how many people who have the game have the achievement. Well, you know, you buy Rare Replay, you stick it in, you play Battletoads 2 or 3 times, and you don't play anything else, you've started the game, and you're building up the ratio for everyone else, and it's incredibly popular because it wasn't that expensive. But each of the other achievements isn't earned by the majority of the people who have the game, so it gets pretty insane ratios.
Yeah, I mean, I have Rare Replay. I've maybe played Battletoads, Perfect Dark, couple things, but not much. But I have almost no Xbox achievements anyways. Like, if I had access to games, I could probably do really well on some kind of contest.
Well, I remember one of the times we were talking about the GTA ASC, and your comment was the solution is go find the Korean gamers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They've been spending all their time on StarCraft, so they haven't played any. Don't have any of this shit. You gotta talk them into playing console games with you.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
Did we just let them shoot the moon?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Oh man. Buddy, don't look at me. He is so furious. It's like, you are the worst. You are literally the worst.
You are literally the worst. It's true. Even Tiny Cat walked off.
So, did we watch the eclipse? The moon showing up in the gameplay there reminded Ypod. I did get a chance to see the eclipse. I'm in Virginia, the northern part of Virginia, so I wasn't in a great path for it. We only had about 80% coverage, which is still a lot, but it's nowhere near enough to start having some of the effects that they talk about seeing so often.
Where I am, we had 60%, so it wasn't anything that I got too excited about. Now, in a few years, we are going to have a total eclipse. In fact, my parents already told us to start taking reservations for like on Airbnb or whatever. So when that happens, I'll probably get more excited. And my husband and my sister went and watched it, but I was like, eh.
I'm just assuming that I'm having a really bad night. I know
Maybe
how to
you're
play
just
this
bad
game.
at playing games.
I could just be bad at playing games. That could be the case.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna blame my partner on that, even though I was the one who took all the points.
I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's fair. You're starting to remind me of the why I lost on Call of Duty pie chart right now.
Lag.
Fucking bullshit. You know, it's like 0.1% of the time the other guy was actually better than
Host. Yeah, you were the host. You had no lag. Spades, I can't do anything with that. I need to make sure I get at least 1 point here. Here, have a 2 of hearts. It's useless. 4 of hearts. A 6 of hearts. I might have kept that 10. It might have been better. Nope, 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 nope.
Okay.
Oh, jerk.
So I'm a list of topics.
Yes. Get us the topics and save us. I did get a chance to see the eclipse.
That way, the next time you lose,
just mock me with the topic
you can blame it on that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get a pair of eclipse glasses from a coworker who bought a pack of 10 for like $12 apparently, and I was like, well, man, those things are gonna be well, they're not gonna do any good.
Not actually Polaroids. You're gonna die.
Yeah, you're gonna put them on and they're gonna go instantly blind. And you know, they were stamped, yeah. And then I tested them out, and they were actually really, really good. So she's got an amazing deal. So she was handing them out to people in the office. So it was great. So I got a chance to see it, and was outside with a bunch of people watching it happen. I'm passing cards right now. No, I'm not. To my right, so yes, you can have the queen, and you can have these two. There you go. So I know the queen is to my right, so computer 3 has the queen. See, that's the thing. Normally I can pay attention. Not try and talk about it.
I looked at it very briefly with my selfie camera, because apparently the selfie camera out the sun because the sun's often in selfies.
Interesting.
So that's considered safer than the pinhole camera. So I did that briefly, and I was just like, it's really hot.
It was pretty hot out. It was, I'm wondering how high I need to go here. We need to take this if we want to have a chance at shooting the moon. We want to. Let's go with 10. Oh, no. Disaster. Only 60% where he was, and what Ypod says. So, yeah,
about the same.
60% still good enough to have an experience. With 80%, the coverage was things got a. It was like serious cloud cover, even when it wasn't covered by the clouds. And actually, the color of the light changed because the way that the light bends around the moon at that point actually affects the wavelength due to relativity. It's pretty cool when that happens. But it wasn't the profound effects like total coverage where, you know, the crickets start chirping and dogs go completely crazy. The animals that were around, a whole lot of animals anyway, but the animals were pretty well behaved and normal. It was like, okay, it's just kind of cloudy out.
Yeah.
But then the storm came because all of the solar activity severely impacted how the winds were moving, and that definitely was a big storm.
We did not have a storm.
Passing across. This is not very helpful.
So topic 1A, because, you know.
Because that's how we do things.
That's how we do things. One topic becomes 3. Was the Xbone times. Is it worth buying a new console just for graphics?
And the answer to that question is...
And you were...
Right, no. I don't think that it's worth buying a new console just for new graphics. However, I would not be buying an Xbox One X just for new graphics if I bought an Xbox One X.
Right, because your TV is already broken.
Right, and I would get to enjoy some of the other benefits along the way. Alright, 5... What are you doing? Could you not beat it? I blame that one on the computer.
Yeah, definitely the computer's fault. Nothing is your fault. Don't worry about it.
Not lag.
Lag. Fucking bullshit. Alright.
So no, I've been talking about being interested in the Xbox One X for a while. I think the first time I mentioned it was back on Commanders, and at that point, it still wasn't fully known what it was and how it was going to be. But I was interested in it because, I don't know, branding? Obviously, calling it the Xbox One X does it for me. Microsoft comes with these terrible names for these things. Did you like that play I put on it? I've seen that somewhere else. I think it's pretty interesting. It's not just the Xbox One X, it's the Xbox as an XB box 1O. So we got XBO, and then it's the X. So it's the Xbox. Xbox One X. Xbox. They're right back where they started from. It's like a backronym. Stop listening, Xbox.
The Xbox 110.
The Xbox 110. That works pretty well too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a queen.
Okay. So, yeah, you have to buy... Well, you don't have to buy a new TV, but for your own sanity, you probably should. So
I need to get a new TV pretty soon.
Yeah, so you're going to buy a new... Or else you're going to go insane looking at a tiny screen. So the question is now, do you get an Xbox 10 times, or do you let it ride? How much does Microsoft have to incentivize the Xbox half step up?
More than it is right now.
For you to get it.
It's priced right now about $100 more than it should be, in my opinion, and I need it to be priced at least $100 cheaper than that. So I need like a $200 or thereabouts price discount from what they're advertising the manufacturer's suggested price as right now. So we are not for me.
You and Microsoft are not on the same page.
We're not on the same page.
I'm trying to think. I mean, for me, it's not about the Xbox One times. You know, we've talked about this before. I think we've talked about it on stream. The PS3, Xbox 360 generation was approximately 10,000 years long.
It was a long generation.
And so, because of that, this feels really fast.
It does.
But it's not actually fast compared to generations over the years. It's not exceptionally fast.
I don't know. I'd still say it's pretty fast compared to everything. We're done.
All right, let's look them up. Where do you want to start? You want Sega?
I'd start.
Nintendo?
Nintendo to Super Nintendo was like 84 to 92. So that's 8 years.
Alright, I'm looking it up. Nintendo. Ooh! Sorry, looking at their profits and
Yeah,
and
they made a lot of money.
Okay, products. So myself, hold on.
Whoops.
I think I'm back.
Okay, welcome back. I can hear you. North America, 85 to 91 is what Wiipod says for the NES. That sounds about right. So I was on the ballpark. So that's only 6 years. I thought it'd be longer than that. So even then, but you say 6 years is a generation. It's perhaps a little short for a generation. We're only in year 3 or 4 of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 generation. So no, I don't want you to pause.
There's 5 years between SNES and 64. And then another 5 years we have the GameCube. And then another 5 years we have the Wii. Then we have the Wii U, which was 6 years after the Wii. And then we have the Switch 3 years after the Wii U. But we know that's because the Wii U was a failure.
Right, they just didn't work it out very well.
Yeah. They just moved on to the next thing. They're like, oh, pretend that never happened.
We are so sorry.
We realize that you didn't want that. We hope you want this Switch thing.
I won! It's me, the winner! Yay, it only took me like 4 tries. And a partner. Who may or may not have been
let's look at Sony's history.
Let's try again without a partner. I guess I can try and see if there's anybody online.
Well, that's interesting to know anyway, whether or not that works.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to try it because we found out that it didn't work with Domino Master. That's not the only game that I'd seen with that error since then, but most of the ones I have, I don't think have this issue.
Okay.
This appears to be working, but there's nobody online playing, which isn't surprising. This is an old game, and it's not particularly popular to start with.
So, the PlayStation was released in Japan in December of 1994.
Really?
And
that seems late.
it's a late entry. Because Nintendo and Sega had put out consoles before. And Sony only got into video games because of inventing the CD.
And basically Nintendo telling them off.
Yeah, they made the Nintendo PlayStation, where they licensed their CD technology to Nintendo. And I've even seen the console. It exists.
It looks a lot like the original PlayStation.
It looks like the original PlayStation. But basically, they ripped out the cartridge thing and just shipped it. And then Nintendo was like, no, we don't think the future of video games is CDs. Go take a hike, Sony.
We're not interested. Biggest mistake ever.
We're not interested. Okay. So Sony sold the PlayStation through at least December 2003 because that's when they became the first video console to sell 120 million units. So 9 years. And
9-year generation. That's pretty good.
But they released the PS1 in 2000. So they let them overlap. And that's something that we talked about happened with PS to PS1 to PS2 and even to PS3. There was this long overlap of games. But as soon as the PS4 came out, they kind of cut off the PS3. And Microsoft kind of did too with the 360. They're like, this generation's gone on long enough. People stop making games for it. There wasn't this overlap.
For the 360 to the one? No. There was plenty of overlap. There was still about a year where there were some games even right at the beginning that didn't have it, but I would say most games for the year to a year and a half the developers kept up because we had even Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on both consoles. So they made 4 versions of that game.
This one is 3 years.
3 years is
between
a
that
really long overlap. That's I
3
can't
years.
imagine that existing.
So then we have 2000. 2000 is when the PS1 comes out, and 2003 is when the PlayStation crosses 100 million units. So then we have the PS2. Oh, that's what was released in 15 months. 2012 is when it sells 155 million units. So it comes out in 2005. No, the Slimline came out in 2004, and the 3 came out in 2006. Whoever wrote this Wikipedia article sucks. I can't believe that the Sony has a mistake in it, but there is a.
How can Wikipedia ever have mistakes?
They have the PS1 and PS2 releasing in the same year, which I just don't think happened. PS1 is wrong. I'm gonna go with the PS1 is wrong. The updated
PS1
version. Okay, there
was
we go.
updated version? Okay.
Of the PlayStation. So it was the half step. Okay, so 2000, the PlayStation 2 comes out. 2006, the PS3 comes out. And 2013 is when they announced the PlayStation 4. And then the Pro is 2016.
So we're seeing it's 6 to 8 years per generation, basically.
Looks like it's 6 to 8 years, depending. And now we're at 3.
So this is a half step.
Well, and the question is, are they officially half steps? I guess the PlayStation is, because they're calling it the PlayStation 4 Pro. Is the Xbox One X, or is it the Xbox X?
It's the Xbox One X, so it's a half step.
Okay, so it's a half step too.
Yeah.
All right.
It is still an Xbox One in everything, in every sense of that word. Because it will still play all Xbox One games, it just plays them better.
Right. Hopefully. Theoretically. Potentially.
Yeah. Well, not all of them
other
better, but all of them pretty well. That's the plan, at least. I'm screwed again. I'm definitely not playing my best tonight. But that's okay, it's fun. This is still fun. This is why this was a great time waster back in the late 90s.
Right. So, okay, so they're officially half steps, and they came out basically halfway through a generation based on the average of generations we've kind of looked at. So now the question is, as a hardcore console gamer, I assume you consider yourself that. Do you buy steps and
really.
half steps? You don't consider yourself a hardcore gamer?
I mean, I probably am, but that's not my definition for myself. Just because I play a lot of Xbox, I mean, like, a lot, doesn't mean I'm a hardcore console gamer. Just because I have a membership on a console-centric site and do math stuff for it doesn't mean... Okay, I'm probably a hardcore console gamer, but it's not my, it's not my self-identity. I don't see that.
Hardcore console gamers look at your blog, and they're like, dude, you need to chill.
What is with that?
That's you. That guy is way too into video games. Yeah.
Casual gamers
don't steal games.
To
True,
feed their
they
achievement
don't.
habits. Oh, that's the...
Yeah. Yeah.
You cut me to the quick. I do not have an addiction.
Wipeout has your number.
I need someone to feed me now. And they didn't. I'm in trouble.
Okay. So, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're a hardcore console gamer.
Fair enough.
Do you then buy steps and half steps, or do you want to get yourself in a cycle where you're only buying steps or half steps?
I think that I want to, if I'm a hardcore console gamer, I want to spend my money on the best stuff. If I didn't have, wife and family and mortgage, I'd absolutely be buying it, and a 4K TV to go with it, and I'd buy a lot more games than I do.
Right.
I buy a lot of games as it is, so...
So that would
clearly,
be your preference.
No, my preference is to have a job that pays me all the money I need for that, and then gives me the time to actually do it, right?
So you want my job?
Yeah, that'd be great. No, I don't want your job.
You really don't, actually.
I really don't.
Yeah. Everyone's like, your job must be so good. I'm like, I have no idea.
No
idea. So terrible.
You don't want your job, I don't want your job, you don't want my job.
I've had your job.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it.
I can't imagine anyone would enjoy it. I don't know why I have my job. I mean, I know why
Well,
I have
because
my
I
job.
gave it to you.
And because no one else wants it.
Because, secret, I don't actually like you. So, I'm thinking for myself that I don't need steps and half steps. And the reason being because I have a delay on buying games anyways. It's
right.
fairly
You and I,
rare for me.
We tend to be pretty late in the genre.
Yeah.
Pretty late in the cycle.
I like to buy games when the discs are on Amazon for around $20 for the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC. And I don't mind being a year or two behind to do that. So because of that, if I only bought on half steps, the console, when I got it, I'd have all the games that had already been released for the major change.
Well, this actually ties in very well with the XKCD comic that I sent you, which is one of my favorite comics ever. and it's in case people haven't seen it, it's or even know what XKCD is. I assume everyone knows what XKCD is, but it's a comic where this stick figure is playing Half-Life 2 in 2004, and they're making fun of him for playing the game 5 years too late. It's like, no, I play the games 5 years late on purpose because I can still incrementally increase my hardware, but it costs a fraction of the price. So I play my games 5 years late. And it's flawless. There are no problems, except, of course, that he doesn't get to be part of the culture where the memes are happening. He doesn't know that Half-Life 3 never happens.
Right.
And the joke for the strip is that in 2009, he's finally figuring out that the cake is a lie. Which, of course, is a great Portal reference, a game that I have also still never played. Speaking of games that I've never played, that was a segue into, we were talking about Bioshock's 10th anniversary, which is a game I've also never played, even though I recognize it as one of the great games of the last generation, possibly the greatest game, depending on who you're asking. It's a game I've never played because it's a shooter.
I mean, it's a shooter, but it's not like shootery. I posted a link to the
comic just in case. Yeah. Thanks. That'll be helpful.
But yeah, the person is claiming that they play everything on a 5-year delay.
And if you do that, then you do have the benefit that he's discussing at the drawbacks. And so we're not doing that intentionally. You know, we both play some new games as soon as they come out, but by and large, we are behind the curve, and that's okay for us because we get cheaper games.
Well, and I think it also depends on what type of game player you are. If you spend the majority of your time, say, playing Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is your favorite game and that's just what you want to do, then it's not as big of a deal to pre-order Call of Duty so that you have it the day it releases to play, because you're not spending that much money a year on games.
No, because you're buying
we're
one game.
Hardwood Hearts on a 12-year delay. Right, even if you buy every iteration of Call of Duty, like you're getting Modern Warfare, Infinite Warfare, etc., you're still only buying, $100 worth of games a year, let's say. When you play pretty much any kind of game, which is more where we are, we'll play anything.
Everything, and lots of them.
Right.
I will definitely spend more than that on games per year.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if we include PC games, where I try to spend around like $2 to $5, and buy everything during like the big summer sale,
Right, but you do that, and then you still spend a bunch because you don't just buy one or two; you buy 100.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still spending $50. That's on that.
It's like this backwards compatibility sale. I bought a bunch of games for $2 to $5, but I bought like 20 games.
Yeah.
And now I'm streaming them all 1 hour at a time. It's perfect.
Yeah, so I did just buy a full price game this last week. Rare for me. I bought it because it was $40 and I wanted to support that decision and I wanted to play the game. So I played it, I liked it. It had some things I didn't like about it. And we didn't talk about it too much, but some of the gameplay elements, the way they were designed to support the narrative, made playing the game very frustrating. But in a way where the main character would be frustrated and it was realistic.
Oh, right.
But I was like,
we
I
weren't
don't
talking about
want to
that.
be frustrated right now.
No, you don't play games to be frustrated.
Yeah.
It's similar to the complaints that people have legitimately about the Blind Girl game, Beyond Eyes. That's a frustrating game to play at times, and so I talked about that in my blog, about whether that made it art, and I think that it was already art, but that helped to solidify the choice as art compared to other games. That doesn't mean that it's a good game or necessarily even good art. It just it is what it is.
Right, and it's an experiment. You know, the games that are trying to teach you something, like the game that's trying to teach you what it's like to have Alzheimer's, and that's a horrible game to play, because having Alzheimer's is horrible. You know, Senua's Sacrifice is about having psychosis, which is probably horribly frustrating and awful. And there are parts of the game that are horribly frustrating and awful, in a way where the gameplay mechanics support that narrative and character development. Technically should have been great, but instead I was like, nope, I don't want this, I don't like this.
This is not a fun experience. And if a game isn't fun, is it still a game? Is it going to have any kind of longevity? You know, you can have something that is artistic, but it needs to still be fun.
Well, and I think if we go back to is it Kant? I think it's Kant's definition of art. Is it, in order for something to be art, it both has to be good and be able to be perceived as good by the average person. So it requires two pieces. And that's the definition I like for art. That you have to be able to receive it. It can't just be, oh, it's art, you don't understand it. You know, it's like, nah. I mean, most people can tell when they're looking at art, you know.
You kept it.
Really true art.
Thought I had a chance there. Disaster. So
not your best cards.
Not my best game. That's Hearts. You get to play with a couple of options. You have options for the Jack of Diamonds is worth -10 points, so you can play with some house rules kind of things. Disabling the normal pass route, so you just go back and forth, and you can select a lot of different things. It doesn't have much to it. It's not what it's exactly what you'd expect from a game called Hearts. The right price, it's a good thing to do. For me, it has the added benefits of having achievements in card and board, which is great because those are things I want to do. So I actually haven't earned any achievements tonight, so I'm going to keep playing for a little while longer and see if I can earn an achievement in it, at least start the game properly. And that'll give us some more time to talk about some of those other things. But yeah, I mean, we want games that are art, but we need the game to be a game and be fun. Otherwise, the fact that it's art is meaningless. Like, you don't look at an art piece of art, like, you know, a statue or a sculpture or a painting that's ugly. Guernica is an ugly-ish painting that gives you strong emotional feelings, and it's a masterpiece in partially because of that, but it's still a masterpiece because it's not just, you know, ugly, it's more than ugly. It is somehow beautiful because of its ugliness. And video games need to be a game first, and then they can be art on top of that. Des, are you there? Have you been muted? Hello, Des. Am I still here? Good sign. Aw, Des is gone. At least I know I'm still here. I'm gonna keep going, see if I get an achievement. In the meantime, some of the other things that were on that list, segueing from game to game, new games coming out that I'm still somewhat excited about. I saw that at Gamescom, Microsoft announced there was going to be the list of Xbox One titles that were going to be affected by the 4K texture packages. So one of those that was on that list was the game Connect Disneyland Adventures, which is an Xbox 360 title. Now, none of the Xbox 360 Connect titles have ended up on the back. Des, are you back?
I think I'm back.
Yay, welcome back, Des. Yeah, you're here. I just hope the audio is being included.
It is. I checked that, actually.
Oh, cool.
It did not automatically include it, so...
I segued us to talking about Connect Disneyland Adventures as the next game on the list. You were talking about having bought a full-price game. So this is a remaster that they're going to do. It's not actually just making it backwards compatibility and available on the Xbox One, but they're going to make a brand new game. And it's going to be for Connect for the Xbox One X. But it is Xbox enabled, not Xbox required, which means that you can still play it with controller if you want to. So they're going to have to integrate controller support into it somehow, while also doing the 4K texture upgrades, which is going to be pretty impressive. Because what made Xbox Connect Disneyland Adventures so great was basically they took Disneyland, the park, and converted it into a world in a video game. 140 acres just transplanted, and it's as close to one-to-one as you can possibly get, with it still being cartoony a little bit. The detail in it is fantastic, and as someone who enjoys Disney and the Disney parks in general, it was a great experience for me, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than actually going to Disneyland. Plus, you get a lot more personalized attention. So they're going to put that remaster out for $30 come October 31st as Halloween. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah, I definitely want to support games that are $30, games that are $20.
Even if they are remasters. We were also talking a bit about, just to jump ahead, this constant repackaging and reselling of old content. But if it's the right price...
Well, and if you give me something worthwhile...
Exactly.
Because we talked about some pros and cons of the constantly evolving technology, and I think with most people, they probably feel it strongest with their movie collections, because it was VHS, then you had to buy everything on DVD, and then Blu-ray came out, which hopefully you were smart enough to invest in right off the bat, and you don't have HD DVD.
I still have HD DVDs.
And so now we're at 4K Ultra. And
no one actually has any physical discs anymore. You've got it all digital anyway.
But no one has physical discs. And
without the physical discs, how do you say you have ownership?
Right. Not only that, but there are movies that, Academy Award nominated movies that just don't exist anymore. Because they're out of print on DVD. The publisher never put them on Blu-ray. Maybe your library has a VHS. Maybe they don't. And there are companies that are exploiting this, and you've talked about this, to cover up past mistakes.
Right, so because I definitely have blogged about this, and I've talked about it in a lot of other contexts as well. Disney in particular is really egregious at using copyright to protect themselves from themselves. They made a movie, Song of the South, very popular movie, which by today's standards is racist. There's just no way around it. It's a racist movie. But it didn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be, and in the time period it was, in the context of it, it wasn't. But because they want to avoid any connection to that, they're just like, no, that movie doesn't exist. You cannot buy a copy of it. Not on VHS, not on DVD. It's in the vault permanently. So the copyright is the right to make copies, which they are employing to specifically not make copies.
Well, and it's interesting because...
Except Splash Mountain. Yes, they remember that they had the song rights for Zippity Doo Dah is what it comes down to, I think.
Right. And we talked about copyright in some other contexts as it affects video games, and of course copyright law is really complicated. I know a little bit about copyright law because it affects my work, and to the extent that it affects my work, I was thinking about the tattoos. Somebody's suing a video game company on behalf of tattoo artists over the inclusion of tattoos on NBA players.
NBA players with tattoos, so they get the representation. And unlike the NFL, the players are closer up, and you have to have more detail on it. So the tattoos, as the likeness of the player, necessary and authorized under the game, have the tattoos on them as well. Well, then, is that copyright violation or is that fair use? And it's a very interesting discussion.
So, in copyright, the way art works is you have an automatic copyright as soon as you fix your original artistic work in a medium in which it can be viewed by another person or experienced by another person. So when I write my instruction manuals, tutorials, patterns, the second I'm done, it's copyright. There's no process I have to go through. But the piece of art that they are based off of, in my opinion, they fall under useful objects. The copyright protection for useful objects there is none, which is why clothing designers all rip each other off all the time. You can't copyright a clothing design because it's this type of useful thing.
Right.
And not only that,
because you can't copyright clothes, they tried to go the other way.
Right.
Uniform and costume people have tried to patent their work instead.
Right.
And that still hasn't worked out, but they tried.
And that's why there's so many high-end designer bags that have logos on them. Because Louis Vuitton absolutely can copyright, trademark, patent, trademark their logo. So if you rip off their bag and you rip off their logo, that's a clear violation of their rights. And as far as I'm protected by copyright, I'm protected by copyright insofar as if someone took one of my manuals, erased my name and put theirs, and tried to sell it, that would be a violation of my rights. But if someone used one of my manuals to mass produce these items and sell these items, that's not protected. So copying the item itself because I sell a way to make it yourself makes it okay for people to copy the item without paying me anything. So it's a little tricky area that I'm in. Luckily, most people can't figure out how to make them without at least buying the thing.
Yeah, this comes back to DRM. I've been reading a lot of Cory Doctorow lately, and Cory will tell you straight up that DRM is just about making sure that the average consumer can't break it, because DRM is absolutely breakable by people who know what they're doing. You can't stop them. But the problem is, once the smart people break it, then they can pirate it and put it on the internet, and the stupid people can get it as well. And that's probably being unfair and unkind, but that's basically the process. Smart people broke the DVD copyright infringement thing, and then they put the contents of the DVD online, and the way to break it turns into software that now anyone can use, and your DVDs are copyable the way that they always should have been.
Right. And we talked about paywalls before, and you know, all my stuff is behind a paywall. If
And
you
that
want to see
can
my
work.
stuff, it does. I have had no decrease in revenue whatsoever from making that decision. And so that's fine. You know, if you wanna steal from me, now you have to at least pay me to see what you're stealing. So no one's really stealing from me. Everyone's paying me, unless people are hacking my site.
It basically has to be with the permission of your service provider, who's doing all the hosting.
Security company is Israeli.
Oh wow, no one's getting through you.
So, I mean, no one's getting in there. I mean, the only security problem I've ever had is anonymous DDoS attack, because they specifically attacked my security provider because of the Israel-Palestine thing. Conflict. So, yeah. But tattoos, I mean, I'm having trouble with tattoos. I think they're
so
art.
The tattoo, the art is definitely art, and who is the artist? Okay.
And I also think clothes are art, though. You know, and a tattoo
I don't know the clothes
is
are.
an adornment.
Yeah.
So it's more in line with clothes, in a way. Leaves the control of the artist. It can be manipulated and changed, removed. You know, once they put it on you, they're done. And if they copy someone else's art, so let's say one of these NBA players took a photo of a family member and said, "Can you turn this into a tattoo?" Is the photographer's copyright being violated? Yay!
Crickets are chirping.
Plus, it also sounds like went to a few tattoo artists who had done NBA players, got them to sign over their rights to them, and is now looking for money.
They're trying to make an issue of this, and they even said in the article that we were talking about that this has not gotten any final solution, because every time someone has brought a lawsuit, there's been settlements. So they're trying to continue to push this and get some settled law on the issue of whether or not tattoos constitute art, copyright. And it's a little bit more of a thorny issue than a painting, certainly. But whether or not the game company is violating their copyright by doing that, if it is in fact copyrighted by the tattooist, isn't the person who has it on them violating it by displaying it in a public location? Isn't that NBA star now violating it by showing it off on the court? Shouldn't he be forced to give it up or something?
Not only that, it's not just on the court. Like him walking around in his life. The real issue is ESPN.
Yes.
The televising of the tattoo is the big violation. And, you know, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, anyone who's watching, easiest way to never have a problem with that tattoo is to make your tattooist sign a work for hire agreement where you become the rights holder of your tattoo. And probably any tattoo artist who isn't like on a TV show of their own would not give a shit about signing.
I think we're going to do it again.
It's like you've turned a corner now that you're talking about. How am I supposed to remember that when it's 4 a.m. and I'm drunk? Pod, you're not supposed to get tattoos when you're drunk. It's bad for your blood.
We did not turn a corner, by the way.
Good advice.
I mean,
there may be other reasons you shouldn't get tattoos when you're drunk. but it is actually not healthy for you.
Eat those two.
You know, we've combined like several of these things.
We just kept going all over the place. We
basically, one of the things
we covered our
we were
topics.
talking about was crossovers and tie-ins, and we just created a topic crossover.
We just crossed over everything. Look at how good we are. It's like we're professionals.
We're so good. We're
so good.
I don't know if we settled anything, but I don't know if we care about that.
We talked about the things we wanted to talk about. That's the thing. It's all about talking. Fill that airtime. Make it entertaining. Look, we've an hour of hearts.
Number 6 on the list is stop trying to make Kinect happen.
And I sort of talked about that because it was already talking about Kinect. Now, the Kinect is an amazing piece of hardware, and it should happen. And games should exist for it, and they need to not be all exercise and dance games. So something like Kinect Disneyland or Kinect Rush, which is the other, needs to exist in the ecosystem, because without games like that, it's just meh.
Well, can we talk about... I'm gonna throw in a curveball topic that we didn't
Something we haven't planned. Wow. Okay.
What about VR? And should it replace the Kinect? Could it replace the Kinect?
What are you trying to do with the games?
So
here's the thing. What are you trying to do with the games?
Let's take that Disneyland game.
Okay.
And we make it a VR game instead of a Kinect game. And now you're actually in Disneyland?
Can that work? It can. I don't think it could or would, because the technology doesn't work the same way. Why does Kinect work but VR not? Yes, you still need a peripheral, but you don't put the peripheral on your head. You don't occlude all of your vision. You are still removed from it, even though it's more immersive than sitting on the couch. You are standing up and walking about and doing stuff, and that is more engaging than the alternative. But you're not sticking stuff on your head so that you can then, I don't know, pretend that you're actually there and have it try and work, and it doesn't. I'm starting to get distracted by my game again. So the point is that because of how VR works, it ends up being a completely different experience that I do not think translates.
Well, and Microsoft's not developing VR. They're developing AR, right? So it's almost like they don't want to go to the full glasses and everything. And the people who have tried what they've done so far say it's kind of like when you put the glasses on and you play Halo. And
so it's like Google Glass?
Sort of,
See,
yeah.
it's
like an augmented reality.
I was in favor of Google
Halo,
Glass. I thought that was a good product, and I was disappointed when it went away.
Yeah. So you're still sitting on your couch, you still have your controller, but like when you have the big war room meeting or whatever, you can actually see the war room table in between you and the screen. So you have this augmented reality. The HUD can be in your glasses instead of on the TV and things like that. And that's kind of what Microsoft is looking at. So they don't really have an intention of going full VR, at least not announced at this time.
I think that's the smarter way to go. I genuinely do not think that VR will be the thing, especially not for gaming. I think VR as an experience can exist, and I think it could be entertaining and interesting, but I don't think it is what people, especially gamers, want for their games. We don't necessarily want that level of immersiveness in our games. I'm sure some gamers do, especially for some. It's like some gamers are perfectly content to do nothing but play Call of Duty. I think the average gamer, or perhaps not the average gamer, the gamer like us, the unaverage gamer, is more interested in spreading our attention around to a lot of different games. And if you're spreading your attention around to a lot of different games, you don't want to be tied into something like VR. It's not going to work for me, and I don't think it's going to work in general. Why I like Disneyland is just the attention to detail, and that can be done in VR, but I wouldn't want that.
And we talked about when we talk about whether we're the average gamer or not the average gamer.
We are not the
When
average
we
gamer.
read that Steam article about how many games the gamers own,
And it was like 2.5.
I'm in the 1%, like on Steam, the top 1%.
You're on the top 1% on Steam, and you don't have that many games on Steam because you and I buy our games with other programs.
I took my GOG library and applied it to Steam, like as if I had bought all these games on Steam. If I had bought them all on Steam, I would be in the 1% on Steam. I don't know how I compare to the average GOG customer. I think they would have more games than Steam.
I would say that the average GOG customer will have more games than the average Steam customer because the average GOG customer is going to be more like us than the average Steam customer.
Right.
They're going to be more interested in those unique titles that you want to play a bunch of rather than the one hit. You're not going to find the one hit on GOG.
Right, and you don't care how old the game is.
You really don't care how old the game is because that's the whole purpose of the game. It's good old games.
Yeah. And so I know and my primary game playing is not done on a PC. So if I'm in the 1% on Steam, top 1%, and I don't even consider myself primarily a PC gamer, then I clearly have a problem.
Yes. You and I have issues where we buy way too many games and we even play a few of them.
Yeah. I played a PS3 game this week and I was super like, wow, I've never ever played. Like, it's unwrapped, but when I put it in the PlayStation, the PlayStation was like, yeah, I need to download this. I've never seen this before.
I need an update for this file.
I need to update this, yeah.
Hold on, you asked me the games I played this week. Hardwood Hearts now. Chaotic, which I talked about as that Danish card game that got turned into a game. Zombie Driver Ultimate Edition. Assassin's Creed Pirates, that's basically the mobile phone game. I finished playing Never Alone, Kisime in Gichuna. That's the Inupiat game. I finished that plus the DLC. I have to admit, I was disappointed in that. Really thought it was going to be a lot of fun and a good game.
Ended up not buying after I
thought
played the demo.
I thought you played it with Sliz.
No, that was the thing where you only talk in poetry and your best friend is a ball of light.
Oh. I honestly thought you'd played this with Sliz, otherwise I might have had this for us for something to stream. That we did.
Is that the one with the fox?
Yes.
Never mind, I totally played that.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yep. So, Wipod has 300 games on Steam and has never launched 190 of them. So, Wipod's in our club.
Welcome to the club, Wipod. It's a fun club. And then Connect Adventures. I played Connect Adventures for some reason. That's probably back when I was still doing the Leapfrog. So then, did we want to talk about the math, or we're done? So
what
we
math?
Can move on to another game.
Leapfrog
pull up
math?
another Leapfrog math. Yeah, exponential decay and stuff.
Well,
I can pull out a different game.
What are the two options for next week?
For next week, we're probably going to play Path of Exile next week.
Path of Exile. Okay. I didn't know if it was a choice or not. We could let Wipod
I'm really
vote.
pretty sure that's the best choice because Path of Exile is exiting beta, so it'll be brand new and ready to go. And I'm looking forward to going back to it. It's been a long time since I played it.
I'm trying to decide, Wipod. I might buy a month of gold since it's a free game and I don't have to also buy the game. Is that something you would want? Because I don't really... I mean, I can buy a month of gold here or there so we can play multiplayer games. But we might not be as interesting.
Yeah, if we're both talking, but it's gonna be more like Marvel Heroes at that point.
Assuming you think we're interesting. So.
If you don't think we're interesting, I have to admit I don't know why you're here.
Maybe Ypod is punishing himself for something. Don't judge him.
It's cool either way, because we're cool. That's what it's all about. Yeah, I actually haven't played that many games this week. I've been slacking because things have been busy with real life and work has just started getting crazy. So I'm looking forward to Path of Exile next week because it'll be a nice, enjoyable change of pace.
Path of Exile, if I played, I don't know. I don't play dungeon crawlers, so I'd probably just be super terrible.
Well, you wouldn't get stuck at level 10, so there's that.
That's true. I mean, I was really bad at the Marvel game, too,
but
so
you were stuck at level 10, and we didn't notice, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you did die a few more times than you really needed to, but it was completely not your fault.
Right. It was circumstances beyond my control. Okay, so we're gonna play Path of Exile. So you're gonna talk about math now.
Yeah, so how long is Leapfrog gonna go on this year when today people have to earn 4 achievements with a 5.2 ratio? So what does a 5.2 ratio mean? A 5.2 ratio means that view valid achievements, that'll be easier. Just grab one at random.
Tiny Cat is scratching Ypod's emojis on my TV screen right now.
5.2% ratio means that 4% or less of the people who have started the game have earned the achievement. That actually seems surprisingly high. I thought it'd be lower than that. It's tough, but those are doable. But those are, for old games, that's going to be really, really hard. And you need to earn 4 of them in a day. And yet, there are plenty of people still going. We have 231 people still in the contest. 235 people still in the contest. And yesterday, we only lost 16. So if we lost 16 a day, we would still go on for another 14 or 15 days. We got two more weeks of this, basically. And we're probably going to go longer than that because we're not going to lose 16. We'll lose more than 16 tomorrow because this is the first day with getting 4 achievements, and that's always a higher decay. But the exponential decay means we lose fewer and fewer each day. So eventually we're going to just be losing 1 or 2 a day for a bunch of days until finally there's just 1 person left. So how long this goes on just seems to extend and extend and extend, and it's going to take between 60 and 80 days, I think. I'm running the math on it, which involves natural logarithms, which is always fun stuff. This is not as bad as differential equations, but it's getting close. And the calculation says 80 to 81 days right now. I think we're going to go shorter than that because I think as these things go up, that'll accelerate. But I'm thinking we're going to see between 60 and 80 days for the final contest. Which, considering that I originally started...
Smite wins.
Smite, Rare Replay, Killer Instinct. Those are your go-tos right now. Killer Instinct is a very, very high ratio game because Killer Instinct has... blowing it up on TA. Thank you, True Achievements, for having all this information in an easily accessible format. 464 achievements. Which is ridiculous.
What is happening?
464 achievements in Killer Instinct.
Why? For what?
Because every character has the same series of achievements where you have to win a game in one format, win a game in another format, win a game in a third format, do a special move, win 10 games in a row in survival mode, finish fight challenges of a certain quantity, complete 200 matches with each character. So some of those are pretty tough. 200 matches, it's not hard, but that's really grindy when you've got 20 characters to get through, for example. And then they have different modes, and each of those modes has achievements attached to it. It's just chock full of achievements, and it's insane because this game normally wouldn't have that many achievements. Most games don't have this many achievements. Even Halo Master Chief Collection, which is all of the Halo games ever made, Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, doesn't have Halo 5. Also, Halo Reach has a total of... Where are you, Master Chief?
My brother has Master Chief.
600 achievements total. Across basically 5 or 6 games. And so Killer Instinct, as one game, has almost as many achievements, and both games have ridiculously high ratios. So you can pick and choose single-ended achievements in those games that have insanely high ratios and really aren't that hard. Like those 200 win achievements for a specific character. Yeah, winning 200 games with a character takes a while. You know, it's a minute per game, 2 minutes per game. So you're looking at a couple of hours of doing it, but you can do it. And that achievement has got a 9 ratio because almost no one has done it because they don't want to spend that much time playing this game right now. Killer Instinct being free to play at launch has a lot of it to do with it, but it's not so much that it was free to play. Individual characters are consistently free to play. And the game has also been games with gold for both the first and the second season. That's one of the reasons why it's so cheap. Been so relatively cheap, and so many people have started it. So yeah, it's on a lot of gamer tags.
Okay, so
I don't know who's going to win, though. I can't predict who wins. I can just say, with some certainty, how long it will go on. Whether or not this is accurate or not depends a lot on the actual whims of the contestants, but with this many people still left in, I'd say the math is pretty strong. When you have a formula that seems to make sense, and it's a lot of people, it's going to work. If it's only 1 or 2, or even 10, individual decisions can change that dramatically.
Yeah, like how much of a life they care about having.
Well,
things like that.
We're to the point where the people still playing, not so much.
They don't feel like having a life?
They don't feel like having a life. If you read the interviews from the Leapfrog stuff, those are some intense interviews. These people
I read that one guy who was like, "This ruined my life."
I think I probably sent that to you. He's like,
you must have, because there's no reason I would have found it
otherwise. Yeah, he's like, my wife was incredibly supportive of me, but it was still a really bad decision. I regret everything.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I did this.
I am so glad it's
over.
But
I couldn't stop once I started.
Right, I mean, once you get to 80 days and there's 3 people left, you got to keep going until... That's the thing. There's so much commitment from these people, and they're so talented in a certain sense to be able to do this, to get 90 achievements in a day. If you can get 90 achievements in a day, well, then you can get 91. If you can get 91, you can certainly get 92. At what point do you just mentally and physically break down and can't do it anymore?
You just start starving. All of a sudden, TA is getting sued for literally ruining people's lives.
Which is one of the reasons why they changed the rules for the second time around. They thought that would be harder and that they wouldn't go on this long because they were, concerned that this was negatively impacting people's lives. I think Leapfrog may well be done once this one goes along. I know the people making this contest, and I talked to them about it. I was like, guys, you want this to go 30 days. I know you do. This is what you say. You're okay with it going a little bit longer. I'm telling you right now, this is going to go at least 40 days. And probably a lot longer than that because the people doing this are absolutely nuts. I know you think it's practically impossible, but you thought that last time and the time before that. You can't do this.
Okay, so YPod says, the ultimate question is Leapfrog art? And I can assure you, YPod, as who is sort of an artist, that it's as much art as death in the mind of someone living. If you ever want to see some interesting art, you should Google that.
My opinion on art is that art is a thing that is designed to and does evoke an emotional response. Being said,
well,
for certain people,
murder
Leapfrog.
is art. Like shooting someone in the face is art. I think you need to change your definition.
That's an incredibly apt criticism that I have never heard before.
Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm okay with this. I mean, it's like...
Let's put that in the category of bad art.
Okay, all right. It's still art. It's just bad art.
Well, I mean, that's one of the great debates about art is like piss Christ art, right?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, it's called immersion. That's its name.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
It's a plastic, unblessed crucifix that is. The photographer who made it as representation of how the commercialism of religion literally pisses on the message of Christ.
All right, so yeah, that's much more artistic than I know about.
Yeah, most people don't know the full story behind that piece. Death in the mind of someone living art. You gotta Google that.
I know the piece, and I actually don't know. I don't know if it fits my definition of art. It doesn't for me, but maybe it does for someone. It's one of those. And every time you bring it up, I always think of that terrible, terrible book, which I can't even remember the title of right now because I'm trying to talk. But it's I forget. Let's see if I can't even Google it. It's a terrible book. So, whatever it was, it's terrible. All books are terrible, especially this.
All books are terrible. It's true. What was this book about?
It's about people dying, and then they go to a waiting room in death where they remain until everyone who knew about them in life has also died, and so they meet people that they knew in life. But when the last person that they knew in life joins death, and they're truly dead, and so it's the same kind of meaning, but. So it's about the people in the afterlife as a result of basically some sort of terrible event on Earth where people are dying by the scores, and so they're all meeting up in the afterlife, and it's awful.
This sounds like a bleaker No Exit. It's like someone read Jean-Paul Sartre's No Exit and was like, this is a pretty bleak play.
I can do better.
But I think I can. All right, well.
All right, Whitepod. Thanks for coming by.
Peace out.
Yeah, we're all done here, and we will come back next week for Path of Exile.
Yep, and I may or may not play it.
We will see.
We'll see.
See you next time.
All right, bye.